found shooting, we found violence.
As a result of the autopsy,
we will not be at peace in this community till we catch whoever's doing this.
The sniper investigation. Anyone who's been watching the news knows that Montgomery County, Maryland is a community under siege, living in fear. Or is it? The CBC's Adrian Arsenault went to find out how all that media coverage is affecting both the public and the investigators trying to find the killer.
This is the WTOP Radio Network, WTOP Washington.
There's no doubt about it. People in the Washington, D.C. area are scared, concerned because a deadly sniper is still at large. Plans have been changed. Weekend events have been called off.
Do you sometimes get the sense they have all up and left? Or that the good people of Montgomery County are there, somewhere, only scared and locked in their homes? No question, that is what it sounds like.
So clearly the anxiety levels have risen dramatically.
No question, these are not normal times here. After all, a killer has chosen to hunt in these suburbs, and his victim list is growing. 10 people shot in 10 days, 8 of them are dead. All of them cut down in the middle of life's most mundane task. Loading groceries, sitting on a bench, mowing a lawn, pumping gas. 4 times the sniper has chosen to kill at a gas station. Each shot fired ramped up the coverage. The world's eyes cannot help but look. It's such an extraordinary story and such a terrifying thought that such random violence could happen to anyone. But if a community's fear has a look, it's probably not this. Not a long sit with a good book in a wide open space. Not a casual chat in a cafe. Certainly not the kids simply messing around. These just don't seem like people under siege.
I think it's on our minds, but as far as staying in,
not unless we have to.
Wouldn't want to give anybody that much power.
You know, everyone is a little apprehensive, but just the same, I've been to church and the cemetery, and I'm going to the movies. So I think that's pretty normal.
And that's the disconnect, the gulf between what people are living and what they're seeing and hearing.
We're waiting for an update from Virginia.
One of the region's most popular radio stations has virtually become Sniper Central.
I would say right now about 80%, 85% of what we're doing is about the sniper. It could be even more. Nathan, how much of the news right now is about the sniper shootings?
Oh, just about all of it.
Yeah, it is.
WTOP's assignment editor, Nathan Hager, says covering this story is an ethical juggling act.
We try our best to deal with it, to try to make sure that we don't foment the fears that people have. And, you know, it's a struggle. It's a constant struggle in journalism. But, you know, we do our best with it. Obviously, you know, we're a breaking news station. We get facts quickly. We try to put them out as quickly as we can, making sure that they're correct. But yeah, I mean, it's a balancing act.
But does this story, this tragedy, deserve the airtime it's gobbling up?
This has received such widespread attention. It dominates 90% of the news. Now, you know, other than Iraq and the president, you know, rattling cages about that, there hasn't been a whole lot that's being talked about. And I think it's way out of proportion.
Proportion is critical to Harvey Goldstein. He's a clinical psychologist who is now fed up with all the sniper talk. News we should lose. That was his article in the Washington Post this weekend.
I think that while maybe there's not a palpable fear running through everybody in the area, people have changed their behavior via, you know, canceling games and changing their way of life for a statistical phenomena that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
That point isn't lost on the reporters camped out at Montgomery County Police Headquarters.
You know, the perspective on it is so ironic. More people are killed in this country by gunfire than have been killed by this sniper in a day. More killed in a day than over the period of a week. So the perspective is very ironic, but at the same time it's such a compelling story that these innocent victims were just killed in such a brutal manner, and that it's an unsolved mystery. So yeah, it's a big and worthwhile story.
But in telling it, what's happening to the public psyche? Psychologists are asking, do people avoid going out because they are scared or because they were led to believe they should be scared? Is it abject fear that's forcing this local high school football team to practice indoors, or just simple prudence on the part of an administrator? There is one act people widely agree actually unnerves them, filling up with gas.
Well, you don't want to take a chance, so you sit in your car and, you know, hopefully you'd be safer.
But was it panic or the perception of panic that brought the guardian angels to local gas stations to pump gas for those who didn't want to get out of their cars?
Were they going to take a bullet for me? I mean, it's up to the sniper, not up to them. What are they going to do, put a ring around every person that walks through?
Goldstein argues it's entirely possible those well-intentioned stories focusing on community fear and safety precautions may just be making people more nervous.
You have to understand, we had 9/11, and then we had the anthrax, and we have West Nile virus everywhere, and I think we've all come to the realization that you cannot listen to the news all the time. You just can't do it, and it just gets turned off. It does create anxiety.
So what do you make of it when you turn on a television and you see a community stalked by fear?
We say, there they go again, as Ronald Reagan once said. There they go again. No, it's a great media story, sadly. But let's just hope that the killer or killers are not feeding on the media frenzy, because the frenzy isn't out here. Take a look around you.
Now, the fear angle isn't a made-up one. Some people truly are afraid. Are the stories needlessly hyped? Are they scaring people? That's the sort of journalistic debate that happens during most frightening events. But what if the volume of coverage and the types of stories covered actually start affecting the investigation? Detectives say that is exactly what is happening here, and they're worried. They are already overwhelmed by the task ahead. This tip line has been so busy, sometimes as many as 40 calls a minute are recorded. They want the tips, they want the media's help, but there is a cost.
In my 12 years of doing profiling and my about 150 major serial crime cases we've been involved with, this is the height of it. This is the most insane I've ever seen it.
Canadian Kim Rossmo is the geographic profiler working the sniper case. He's the only certified geographic profiler in the United States, and it's his job to track where these shootings have occurred, try to come up with a likely pattern and a sense of where the sniper might live. But he's having a problem with the media.
The media, some media are very respectful and understanding in the investigation. Other media are not respectful. We often, when the work we do, have to go out to do site visits. If the media want to follow you around and you're trying to do your work, you just have to leave and come back later. That's wasting precious hours in a situation where hours count a lot.
But to stay away means letting everyone else get the pictures and details instead. That's a hard call for a news team serving a curious and information-hungry public. So often, the reporters arrive just as police do.
All these scanners are monitoring different police stations and fire and rescue stations and things like that. Really what we're listening for is shots fired, box truck pulled over, you know, a van with a ladder rack, because these are all tips that the cops have received, you know, looking for the sniper. And so if we hear anything like that about, you know, a box truck or a white van, we pay special attention, you know, to see if they make an arrest, to see if the person's even questioned for a long amount of time, put into handcuffs, taken into custody, anything like that.
Back at WTOP, the argument goes, the public both want and need the developments.
I think that all of us as news organizations try our best to get the information as best we can, to get the facts straight, and then to balance it with safety concerns, with the concerns of the police as far as jeopardizing their investigations. And I think as much criticism as the police chief of Montgomery County has given the media, I think we're doing our best to work with him and to make sure that their work is not compromised by what we do.
Montgomery County Police Chief Charles Moose. Over the last 2 weeks, he's had more airtime than President Bush. news conferences, sometimes 3, 4, 5 times a day. Recently, he's spent a lot of time at those conferences chastising reporters.
We will go and do other police work, and we will turn this case over to the media, and you can solve it. But to date, the people in my community have asked the police department to work the case. So I beg of the media, let us do our job.
There's many dangers. One is the release of internal confidential information to the media, which then gets out to the community and then gets into the hands of the offender. A lot of thought is given to what is released and what is not released. And if that is circumvented, that can damage an investigation and actually lead to more casualties.
They are both angry about the leak to a local reporter that police found a tarot card at a crime scene with the words, "Dear Mr. Policeman, I am God." Also on the card, "Please don't release this to the media." What investigators have only alluded to until now is the potential consequence of that leak.
With the release of the information on the tarot card, that was bad and really unfortunate, and could have had fatal consequences. Maybe did have fatal consequences.
Do you really believe that?
Mm-hmm. Knowing some things that you don't know, yeah.
Almost immediately, police started to cut down on their news conferences, cut down on their information. With no new news to report, but a story still ongoing, voices of the pundits rushed in to fill the void, each with a sniper theory.
Sunday, killing at random and taking victims without mercy. Go inside the mind of a serial spree killer with David Kaczynski, brother of the Unabomber, on Fox Wire with Rita Cosby.
Maybe it's a man who's disrespected, doesn't get a lot of respect at work, at home, and he's trying to grab respect with a gun. Someone perhaps who's in his 20s, 30s, maybe he wanted a career in military, but never really made it, and this is his chance, this is his battle, this is his attempt to be in charge.
His power control seems to be with the police and the public and the media, not with the victims themselves. So really, I would argue that he's simply a very organized, asocial person.
Fear factor, gas stations, ordinary errands, outdoor sports. Terrorized neighbors struggle to live normally with a random killer on the loose.
What's the harm with it? Because this guy is loving it. The guy that we're talking about is loving the attention.
Harvey Goldstein and police say they've seen enough of the sniper's grim work to suspect he pays close attention to the coverage. And they warn he could be antagonized to act by well-meaning speculators who aren't inside the investigation.
I saw a forensic psychiatrist yesterday. Oh, this is obviously a guy from an abused family, had an abused situation. Maybe this is a raw nerve that we don't want to exacerbate. Why do it? For what reason? Do you really need to know that?
Puts us in a real rough spot, doesn't it? We, what's driving the media? Is it the public's appetite for information, or is it our perceived appetite for ratings? I can't make that definition right now, but I feel that we, have an opportunity to help a lot of people by giving them information now.
Are you scared of people?
I think that whether there were a great deal of coverage of it or not, I think the fact that there's a man out there who's picking people off like he's hunting people, I think that's enough to make people nervous, whether there's extensive media coverage of something like this or not.
And as long as that someone is out there still hunting people, the blanket media coverage will be a constant presence in the lives of these suburbanites. Not being overwhelmed by it or by their own apprehensions will be their constant challenge. For The National, I'm Adrienne Arsenault in Montgomery County, Maryland.
When we come back from the break, we'll have this story.